It would be wrong to call Dorohedoro a fascinating read. Why wrong? Because, well, anything could be fascinating. Any kind of reading material could be perceived as fascinating. Twilight could be perceived as fascinating despite it being very one-dimensional with its characters. However, what makes Dorohedoro so compelling and so gripping is the level of mystery that each volume ends on. So, with this volume, volume 13, as you can tell by the title of the video, there's a lot that is happening within the world of Dorohedoro. So, how essentially to break this down? Well, first, you have Nikkaido storyline, with her working with Kawajiri, and her basically, becoming better at using her magic. And she's going through the same kind of devil training that Kawajiri went through before he became Asu, and before Asu was ultimately killed by Chidaruma. Now, there's something particular about her magic, as we know it's a black cube when she was a child, but the more smoke she put out, because magic is smoke, or smoke is magic in the context of this story, and it's part of this story's hard magic system. So, with that being said, the shape of the cube changed, and this made Kawajiri think, okay, I heard about this before in a book that's written in devil language, and said book is in N's manner. Now, another story, another aspect that gets focused on is the cross eyes. Predominantly, there's a lot of focus on Dokuga, Natsuki, and that's basically it. Oh, and Risu. So, apparently, Curse is Risu. It's actually Risu's magic. That's his magic, is Curse. And Curse's objective is to kill the one who basically killed him. Which is weird, because then why did he mercilessly slaughter N? Was that so the cross eyes would essentially be called out for killing N and then take over the manor? Oh yeah, by the way, the cross eyes have taken over the manor, and the events of this volume take place a month after both Shin and Noi got their asses handed to them by the cross eyes boss, who, weirdly enough, can use N's mushrooms, or mushroom technique. And I do apologize for not mentioning that in my last review that I did for Volume 12. So, with that being said, how did Shin and Noi survive? There's this dude named Sho, who's basically an assassin because he can turn invisible. And it's kind of funny, there is this recurring gag where Sho has been part of the N family for a long-ass time, and no one can fucking remember who he is. And it was funny about that is that, Sho, you can tell that he's not a very confident kind of person, and his confidence dwindles even more the more, he figures out people just can't remember him. Plus, his whole look makes sense for him being invisible, because he seems to be a homage to the Invisible Man movie. I don't know if there's a book for the Invisible Man. I know there's a movie, and that's where my knowledge on that lies. So going back to the cross eyes. Okay, so we know that Dokuga was essentially the one who either he knows about Risu's death. He knows how Risu died. Or rather, what led up to Risu's death. So he has very vital information regarding that. Now, when it comes to Natsuki, it turns out Natsuki is actually a magic user. And with her almost dying at the hand of Ibisu, who, if you didn't know, Ibisu died earlier in the story, probably about, I'd say, 2 volumes ago. She was revived with this hairpin that's supposed to make you happy, but it got stuck inside of her skull, and somehow it popped out, and now Ibisu's back to normal. But yeah, she almost died, but where she was cut, well, she wasn't actually cut. Ibisu turned into a weird, freakish, dinosaur-looking thing and took her arm straight fucking off. But that cut off, with the part of her arm that got cut off, that released smoke, which showed Natsuki's magic powers. Or magic ability, I should say. Because earlier on in this volume, they found a device that can basically read magic. Sorry, if you keep wondering why I keep moving my camera, or actually my phone, it's because this light back here is just really bright and distracting me. Oh my god. As I get for doing this early in the morning. Or actually, not early morning, but more like mid-morning, I guess you'd call it. Anyways, I'm getting off track, sorry. So they find this device that could read smoke output, and it turns out Natsuki's smoke output was actually decent. And Natsuki's ability is defensive magic. She essentially looks kind of like the shit demon from Dogma. Not sure if you've ever seen that movie or not, but she kind of looks like that in a sense. And turns out that she is the direct counter magic towards Curse. That Curse cannot hurt her, but she can actually damage Curse without her attack being then flipped against to her, as we had seen before what Curse did to the Cross-Eye Elites. Also in the volume, both Kawajiri and Nikkaido, in order to infiltrate Ends Manor, aka the Cross-Eye's hideout, is that they had to, one, get fake, like, cross-eyes on their eyes, of course, and two, cross-dress. They basically gender-bended. So we got to see a gender-bent version of Nikkaido, and a gender-bent version of Kawajiri, which was interesting to say the least. Also, a couple other big-ass reveals from this volume is the fact that now we know for certain it was Ibisu's magic who turned Aikawa's head into that lizard head. But it was only magic from the bottle. Because if you remember, Ibisu sold a lot of her magic in order to get money and sold it in bottles. So, there's that to take in consideration. And the biggest reveal is that at the end of the volume, where we learn that Aikawa and Kai are two and the same. They're the same exact person. But what's weird is that the way they change is one loses its head while another head grows in place. And the volume ends with Kai ruthlessly killing Natsuki. Now, is Natsuki dead? Who knows? Because in this story, it doesn't seem like dead is the end of a character. Or, sorry, death is the end of a character. Because we've seen characters die. Then we've seen them being brought back to life again. We know that there are types of magic that can bring characters back to life. Hell, you have Kikurage, who as long as the little devil that inhabits a magic user's skull is not dead, that person can be brought back to life. There's Noi, who can bring near-death people back to life. And if Nikkaido gets a grasp on her magic, possibly she could probably bring somebody from the past back to the present, hence having them be revived, in a sense. So with that being said, what did you guys think of Volume 13 of Dorohedoro? Let me know down below your thoughts on it. And who's your favorite character so far in this story? Or are you just waiting for Season 2 of the anime to come out in order to know about the series even further? Let's have a discussion down below. And as always, rate, comment. I already said comment, didn't I? Subscribe, hit that notification icon. That way you'll you'll get notified of my Dorohedoro volume reviews along with Mcwhirlpoolinc volume reviews on Saturdays. And with that being said, y'all have a wonderful day.